John 18:20 says, Jesus answered him, I have spoken openly in the world. I've always taught in synagogues and in the temple where all the Jews come together, and I spoke nothing in secret. Well, if you're joining us in reading through the 60-day reading plan, today's reading is John 18:1 through 24, and I encourage you to read that passage. Well, if we look closely at verse 20, we can glean a principle from what Jesus says. We're not supposed to restrict what we say just to church time and church activities. Rather, we're to reach the truth everywhere without any mixture of error. Well, for 2,000 years, Christians have been doing just that. Sometimes it's been carried with the possibility of physical rejection, torture, and even death in some instances. But those brave men and women who took their relationship with Christ seriously were carried through their struggles by their faith in Christ. Today, in the United States and Europe, Christians are beginning to face the same kind of persecution that they have in the past. The courts in the European Union have now said that anything that is said against Islam can be viewed as hate speech and not free speech. Instead, those who say things against Islam can be prosecuted. In Canada, it's against the law to speak out against homosexuality, and in the United States military, there's a debate to whether or not a chaplain has the ability to follow what he believes or be thrown out of the military. Now, when Jesus taught in both synagogues and in the temple, he spoke the truth. He told those who he healed to go and sin no more. He always based his actions on the truth found in the Old Testament. In his trials, they could not find any heresy of any kind, so the Jews turned him over to the Romans as one who incited riots and insurrection. We're to follow Christ's example. We are to speak the truth clearly and without malice. Now, we cannot expect anything more than what Christ would expected and received. We will be charged with being unkind, unloving, impractical, and the haters of mankind. But we must stand up for what we believe and accept the results as our life in Christ and as in Jesus did. We have had 2,000 years of history of the men and women who have done just that.